She runs this thing, and she does a great job. Well, over the past 8 years, I've been doing a lot of volunteering at the homeless shelter, with the shower trailer, helping people who are labeled as homeless, or who are called the homeless. And this label offends a lot of people, and it can offend me as well. Because there's such a strong negative stigma that's attached to it. Many people immediately think of bums and vagrants, and there are these inevitable associations with laziness and crime, and drugs, alcohol abuse, which in my experience describes some, but certainly does not describe the majority of the people that we serve at the shower trailer, that's for sure. Now there's another term that's used quite often, and that's people experiencing homelessness, which actually is very accurate and I think a good description, but it doesn't exactly roll off the tongue, in conversation. So I don't find it particularly useful. A better word is one that my mentor, the Reverend Doug Miller, I don't know if he coined this or he just adopted it, and that is houseless, rather than homeless, houseless. And he always insisted that the folks we were serving at the shower trailer were just like us, but for the lack of a house. And I gotta admit that I always felt a little bit uncomfortable with that. I thought this idea was really too simplistic. Does a house really make the difference between me and them? In my mind. I mean, surely there must be some fundamental flaws or failings other than a lack of housing that separate me from them. Right? So let's think about what those flaws might be. They might require treatment for mental health issues, suppose. Or they might need help with recovery from alcohol or drug abuse, suppose. Or they might need financial assistance as a result of a health emergency, or a poor decision, or maybe just bad luck. So maybe those are the flaws that we're talking about that separate me from them. Or maybe not. Maybe those are things that we all deal with as well. Right? So maybe Doug wasn't really too far off in using the term houseless. So, does this mean, then, that the solution to homelessness is as simple as providing a house? And I think that all depends on what we consider a home, which is what we just heard from both Angela and Goo. And when we view it in those terms, I think homelessness can be seen as much more than just the lack of a house. In fact, I think there are probably a lot of homeless people all around us who live in houses. About a month ago, I was reading the New York Times, and it had an article in it that described what they called an epidemic of loneliness in America. And it cited a large-scale survey from the healthcare provider Cigna that concluded that most Americans suffer from strong feelings of loneliness and a lack of significance in their relationships. Nearly half of the respondents said that they sometimes or always feel alone or left out. 13% said that 0 people knew them well in this survey. And I think that's not far off. I think that many of us have this pervasive feeling of homelessness in one way or another. That feeling that we don't actually have a place that we think of as home. I mean, most likely there have been times in our life when we did feel at home. I mean, I have Christmas memories as a little kid, you know, this idealistic vision of a home, or perhaps when you began to raise a family, and you have all the little toddlers around and all of the responsibilities to take care of. Sure, that must have felt like home. But these things change, and that's the killer. You know, people move away, the kids leave, the loved ones leave. So many things change. And in fact, I think about our gig economy that we live in, that forces so many people, particularly younger people now, to move from community to community as their jobs change. How difficult that must make building community and finding and living in a place that feels like home. I would say that in this study by Cigna, they noted that the feeling of loneliness has gotten greater with each succeeding generation. Well, I think far too often many of us feel ourselves yearning for a place where people know us. You know, a place where we count, but also a place where we're counted upon. And I think this is important. I've witnessed this transformation in the shower trailer. I mean, I saw it with Angela. It's just been marvelous over a couple of years, but I've seen it actually with several of our guests at the shower who asked if they can help us. I remember we started this whole project with a survey asking what are the greatest needs if you're living on the streets. And number one was shelter, number two was showers. So we started the shower trailer project. But number three took us by surprise because it was that they needed a sense of purpose, something meaningful to do. I mean, that came before healthcare, food, clothing, any number of other things. And so people will volunteer at the shower trailer, and pretty soon they've adopted a task. And you really can't pry them out of this task. And we run into this challenge, like how do we engage volunteers from the church communities and everybody else when so many of our guests want to volunteer themselves? I mean, essentially, I think we're run more by the actual people we serve than we are by other volunteers who come in. And then we began to pay monthly stipends to individuals, and you can see the transformation that this makes. Much more so than a pair of socks, some new underwear, or even the shower itself. And I also might mention that even when people do get housing, people who volunteer for us, they still won't give up those jobs. They still keep working for us. It's an identity. It is their home. So I think that homelessness is as much about a lack of belonging as it is about a lack of housing. And one good way to feel that we belong is to be of use, to feel needed. So then the question is, how can we help others feel needed? And I'm so glad that Gail Fairburn is here today. Gail, hi. Gail started a conversation in our reflections. That's sort of a chat line for Unitarians at our Unitarian website. And brought up this affirmation of gratitude and giving that we just decided together. And brought up the question that perhaps it might need to be tweaked a little. And at first I thought, oh my God, You know, here's the one thing I can count on, the one ritual I can say without even thinking, does everything have to change? You know, I was very resistant to re-examining it. And then as the conversation went on, with several people chipping in on this over the last few weeks, I began to change my mind. I began to think, well, perhaps we could make a change. And I'd like to kind of describe how I think it could change. And I'm not really big on church speak, so I'm going to put this in my own words, rather than the words you see in the affirmation of gratitude given. I particularly have this objection, you know, to all this talk about green leafy vegetables. You know, let us do this, let us do that. It never works for me. I'm going to put this in my own words for you. All right. So the first one, I have no problem. I'm grateful I'm in a position to give. Lots of people are not. And the second line is fine with me too. I'm grateful when others give to me. I'm enriched by this. That all makes sense to me, and I wouldn't change it a bit. But I think the third line is where we need a little work. It starts essentially by saying, I'm grateful even when I need some help. Really? I mean, if I've got crippling arthritis, if I've got a serious financial trouble, if I've got a broken heart, I'm supposed to be grateful for that. Well, our current affirmation says that I will learn something from the generosity of others. But I think there actually is a more important benefit that can come from me acknowledging my needs, from me being grateful for where I need help. And it's this, that maybe my needs allow others to feel needed. Maybe my needs allow others to feel needed. And when people feel needed, a true sense of belonging has a chance to grow. Just like it has at our shower. And here's where I believe the solution of homelessness can be found. For our friends on the street, but also for the many others of us in our houses. It's in the act of asking for help and allowing others to feel needed. This is how community grows, not just by being counted, but by being counted upon. Not just by being in a house, but by being in a home. Please stand if you are able. This is